Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Social media, I think, and it's come up in a few different places, but I really do think social media is playing an interesting part in our lives for sure. It's making a lot of things really awesome, how we can communicate and touch everybody. We can find old friends. We can, talk to people very easily, right? It's very fantastic in that regard. But it's also, and psychologists and many other people, even the tech giants, some of the people that have been doing the coding behind these programs, admit that there's a bit of a dopamine hit. There's a little play on our minds that they do, with how quickly we get likes, how many people watch it, view it, see it, comment on it, put little hearts and stuff on it. And we start to get kind of addicted to that sort of mentality, that sort of thinking, that sort of way of handling life. And so there's becoming a situation now where generations have grown up with this technology, and then there's generations of people that didn't have this and then have now adopted it into their realities. It seems to affect these generations differently. Not necessarily better, not necessarily worse. It's just differently. The wiring of our brains, if you will, I think between the generations is a little different. And I think that's just one of the key things. Again, not saying one's better than the other. That's not the case at all. But I think one thing that's making it difficult for some people with law of attraction is what social media has kind of gotten us accustomed to. They've gotten us accustomed to being able to send a couple text message words, and that's your discussion with your friend maybe, or maybe commenting on someone's Instagram picture, and then maybe you comment on a few of their things and you like what they're into, and now all of a sudden you think you know them. But it's not the same thing as actually having a face-to-face discussion with someone, actually seeing someone in person and behaving. I mean, I'll be honest, when I turn this camera on, of course I'm trying to behave in my best ability. I'm not running around trying to punch babies and kick puppies, right? That's not going to help my look and feel, right? And granted, I don't do that anyways, but when people put on their camera, when people are taking their picture, when people are posting something, they're showing the best parts of themselves. They're showing the happy moments. They're not showing those sadder moments, right? So we don't get any of that context that really goes with a conversation, that goes with getting to know somebody. And I feel like that's one of the things that's really set us back a little bit. I think there's a lot of people that really expect things to happen quicker, right? Because in social media it does. I get an immediate like. All I have to do is comment and I should get something back. Or how often we send a text message. Most of us have probably been victim of this and certainly experienced it on both sides. But how many times have you sent a text message and they didn't quite get the funniness? Even though you threw a little winky emoticon at the end, they didn't quite get the sense of humor you were passing along. Or maybe they didn't pick up on the sarcasm that you had in there, and so they reacted to it funny. Maybe they got defensive. Maybe they go, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." And they're like, "No, I was just kidding, man. Shoot!" Like it gets misunderstood. There's a lot things that happen in conversations. Let's look at it. Let's step back from the one that's the easiest. So in person, you get facial tics, you get body language, you get people that are touchy and not touchy, you get hugs, you get talking, you get looking in the eye. There's a lot of things that add to the conversation when you're talking to someone in person. There's a huge number of things. In fact, it becomes very difficult to hide stuff even sometimes because of how many tells that a lot of us have. How many little tics, how many little expressions. When we're thinking, we'll look up and to the left, right? Or when we're lying, we'll ask the same question back. What do you mean, where was I last night? Right? We do stupid things. And then we give away what it is that, maybe we're trying to hide or whatever. So there's a lot that goes with it. And then you've got voice. So like phone calls, someone maybe doing a vocal recording, which is very cool. Coming from radio, of course, there's a lot that can be said about what you can do with your voice. If you smile, and people know this that work on phones and all this kind of stuff, if you smile while you're on the phone with people, you sound happier, period. You do. It sounds that way. It's in your voice when you actually do it. So there are things that you can do to enhance a vocal conversation that certainly gives a great deal of understanding into what they're trying to communicate and why, and any subtle nuances, senses of humor, sarcasm, things along those lines where you can suddenly kind of say something on a slightly different tone, and now all of a sudden, it sounds different. Well, let's take that down to the step where a lot of us exist with our communications, and that's strictly just words. Not just words, but like a Twitterverse, man. We're in a such a small number of words. We shorten words down to LOL. Ha! I actually love it when people say LOL, like they say it out loud, because that to me is even extra funny. Like, that's ridiculous, right? You laugh out loud, ha ha ha, then laugh out loud. You don't need to go LOL. That's not good. But that being said, with words, there's so much that's lost, so much that's not present, so much that's not in that communication. Are we making decisions based off of words? Are we making decisions based off of being in person with someone? Are we expecting relationships to happen at an abnormal pace because the way everything happens nowadays? It's a microwave society. If I can't have it in 3 minutes or less, I don't want it. If I can get a microwave bag of popcorn quicker than I can get a response from you, done with you, right? It's kind of where we've gotten to these days. Now, again, generationally speaking, I think people that are a little on the older side, we kind of crave some of those conversations with people, like hanging out at the coffee shop. That's my little thing, right? I get my little people time. I enjoy that. I love being in the presence of people to a point. I mean, not constantly, and I certainly work with people all day long, but a lot of I work remotely. So a lot of that's over calls, sharing screens, hopping on phone calls with people, doing meetings. So I still get that communication. I get to speak at least. Sometimes I turn the camera on, but most of the time, kidding me? Come on now. Not going to happen. So what a lot of these relationship woes that I think creep up on many of us kind of stem from this thinking process that I think social media has caused. I want a lot of us to step back and look at what we're asking for. Look at what we're trying to manifest. Look at how we're trying to manifest it. Looking at where it came from. Do we have enough information? Have we just fallen for somebody based off a couple pictures and now we're trying to manifest things? And right? I mean, again, you can manifest whatever you want. I'm not going to say you can't. But I do like to, myself, I like to try to hedge my chances and move towards things that are beneficial for me, beneficial on my life path, right? Good for the people I'm trying to involve, right? Like just a little more healthy for me and my long term, right? Like I want all these things to play out. And I know for fact that a lot of communications, emails, texts, like all these things are missing so much of what makes communication real. And social media has put such a time constraint on so many of us that we expect it like this. Think of it this way. If you're trying to manifest a relationship with someone and you've never talked to them, how many of you think it's just going to be one conversation and they're going to fall in love with you right then and there? And I'm not saying it can't. Again, I'm just wondering how many of us are coming at it from a thought process where it should happen that quickly. I should be able to get it the second we finally talk. When in reality, you'll go on dates typically. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 5. But you're going to go on a date. You're going to spend time together face to face. You're going to talk and see each other eat. You're going to see how they interact with other people. You're maybe going to go see a movie, maybe go dancing. You're going to do things and spend time together. And that is where the relationship really blooms and grows. And that's where our feelings really start to get solid with each other. And that's where you start getting little inside jokes and little whisperings and little things you can say that'll make you just two little lovers start, they just start chuckling, right? And you're just like, I don't know what they were just saying, but it was obviously funny, right? Some little inside joke for the two of them. So make sure you're giving yourself a chance. Make sure you give yourself an opportunity to grow and develop with these people. Make sure you give yourself more than just a text message chance of communicating with them. Make sure it's more than that. Make sure you're opening up your heart and your mind to the realities of what a human relationship is. Relationships work in human speed, not social media speed. And as much as I think maybe even some might want to say, well, can you manifest it that quickly? I don't want to say no, certainly, but it's probably a good idea to give it a chance and not necessarily try to manifest something in such a way that, well, one, if you are wrong, how many dates are you going to go through before, you finally figure it out, or how many failed relationships because you keep trying to manifest one that's just going to happen instantly? I mean, that's the thing. Like, sure you can, but doesn't mean you will on your first try for sure, and doesn't mean it's not going to happen quickly or slowly. It's the whole process with relationships is talking, communicating, body language, signs, seeing people, how they react, the whole shebang. Give yourself a chance. Make sure you're talking. At least make sure you're doing FaceTime or whatever the messaging stuff, the video stuff is, right? Programs. I don't do it. I frankly don't. I don't like doing that. I don't practice this myself. I have relationships, like I said, with people, and we talk and we hang out. Girlfriend comes over, we have a good time, and it's not. I don't text her that much, though. I'll be honest. I don't like texting. It's pretty boring, and I don't really feel a lot happens. It's good for like quick, hey, can we get this at the store? Or, hey, this is happening. Or, hey, is this the day you're off? And, so it's those things that are great. But trying to get a relationship with someone, trying to get to know someone, and oh my God, I can't even tell you how many text messages have been misunderstood. Or, gosh forbid, there's even a language barrier. How many little subtleties definitely get missed? Real life, you got a much better chance, and you got a better ability to grow and develop with each other. So give yourself that. Build that into your manifestation. Build that into your time frames. Give yourself, because that's some of the funnest parts too, by the way, is that whole honeymoon phase when you're just constantly just enjoying each other. It's amazing. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it's a way to look at things. I don't know. It's kind of a fun one for a Saturday morning, but hopefully this makes a difference for you guys. Love you all. Stay on Radio Style.